Okay, youth unemployment in Canada. Youth unemployment is not a level seen during a recession. And I know there's a lot of other news articles coming out past few days that's we're saying, we're sort of going to sidetrack a recession or 2026 is an opportunity for a rebound, which is great. Reading that is great, but I do really feel as though youth employment and just financial viability of our youth in Canada is the canary in the economic coal mine for this country. So, if you guys aren't familiar with who I am, my name's Alex. I run an AI agency in Toronto called Peak Demand Incorporated. You can go to peakdemand.ca, see what we do. AI operations, automations, receptionists, stuff like that. And we're paying very close attention to the labor market and economy in Canada because it is, AI is directly tied into all these things, transforming technology, transforming economies. But in particularly, youth in Canada are having a very, very hard time. And I remember when I was younger, your parents said, "Get your resume." This is my parents, boomers. I think my mother is set in her 70s. My father is in his 80s. He actually might be silent generation. My mother would always say, "Get your resume. Go around and walk through doors and hand a hiring manager your resume." That was her perception of getting hired. My father, on the other hand, he never he's 85. He literally never had to write a resume in his life. Opportunities were thrown at him as Canada was being built. So now that Canada is fully pretty much built infrastructurally, or at least as a lot more than back in his day, youth is looking at where opportunities lie, and we're watching them look in all the wrong places, or at least we're not guiding them in the right direction towards survival. They're thinking that how we've been doing things in this country for the past 2, 3, 4 decades is how it will be continuing onwards. But we're seeing the greatest transformation and shift in workplace operations and economics, you know, period, than any other time in history. So I really do feel like it's the responsibility of people that know what's going on to sort of guide young people in a direction and say, hey, you know what? Back in my day, that worked. It's not working right now. You might want to try this. So we're going to watch a short video from Global News here just to get a perception of how Canadians are seeing what youth is going through and experiencing. Because I can tell you, Global News, you guys make this look pretty. And I really do want our media outlets to embrace a level of reality and truth. Oh no, that might be too big of an ask or a wish from them. But for our young people, it's super important that they know that the time and that they're going through right now is more difficult than what I went through when I was younger. I'm 37. When I was 21, getting a job looked like a cakewalk to what it looks like now. And that was only 15 years ago. Older generations have absolutely no idea how difficult it is. And so I really want young people to feel like, hey, you know what? There's someone out here who understands what's going on. You can sort of see that. We work with AI, so our workplace operations optimization and efficiency is so important, and it generally starts at entry level roles. So we're paying very close attention to youth employment. But let's just take a look at what Global News says, and then we'll talk about it a little bit.
Life in Toronto is stressful for Emma Burke-Kleiman, who's looking for a place to rent with her partner.
We actually today are in a bidding war for an apartment, and it's crazy to see like what the listing price is versus how much people are willing to pay.
The music therapist and teacher says she feels the sting of inflation.
All of the expenses of just your daily living and how much parking in the city might be, or how much just going to the grocery store is, and things really start to add up.
Young people are really getting hit on the head with the trends that are taking place right now.
Some economists call this a youth session because young people are disproportionately affected by this economic slowdown exacerbated by tariff uncertainty.
And I know we all want to point and blame tariffs. Tariffs are doing damage. Don't get me wrong. Tariffs are not great for Canadian economy, but I can tell you that we are built to be resilient to something like a disruption of tariffs. in just our overall economy and the infrastructure of jobs and hierarchy of businesses. We're just not resilient enough to withstand tariffs. In the States, their private sector is is their economy. It guides government. In Canada, it's really not like that. Like the government is has a stranglehold over the budgets in this country, and the private sector is literally gasping for breath to try and figure out how to grow when regulations make it a little bit difficult. Like there's a lot of red tape in a lot of different industries. If you want to talk about red tape, I would say real estate. You guys got to cut all that red tape right now. Figure something out. And get some of these young people on job sites building stuff or doing whatever. Hopefully you can rip down a whole bunch of these condos and put up some homes people want. But it's just the to blame the problems that youth are having strictly on tariffs and not being conscious of what's actually happening in our economy. It's doing them a great disservice, and we're betraying our futures by not servicing young people. Like I see them, yeah, I see them out and about walking around downtown Toronto. They're jobless. They're smoking. They look thin and weak. Some of them don't look like they're getting full meals throughout their day. Like, and it's just not how it was when I was younger. When I was young, everyone's bright, oh, ambitious. We're all going to be doctors, lawyers, politicians, all that great stuff. And yeah, you look at young people today; they're just glued to their phones, scrolling, doom scrolling. Like, come on. And if we don't have these young people come up and be strong and be those capable adults that take on the leadership roles in this country, then what are we doing this for, really? So I can tell you right now, uh, what we do here at the agency, it's it's great for business owners, operators, to improve efficiency, improve service, both for public and private. But when it comes to young people approaching the workforce now that there's alternatives to just hiring someone to do the job, we have to tell young people that, hey, the environment's changing. You need to upgrade your skills. You need to build stuff, show people, maybe even work for people for free for a bit just to prove that you can do it, and then negotiate, negotiate, negotiate. If you're a young person and you're looking for work and you recognize that someone thinks that you have talent, negotiate with them. Don't be afraid. I remember having to negotiate from a very young age. It's like, well, they're offering me 40. Should I ask for 45,000? I'm going to ask for 50 and see what happens. Oh my God, I got it. That's young people negotiating. Now I'm negotiating pretty much every day. Every conversation I have as a business owner is negotiation. I've got to negotiate with the people I love. So, you know, don't be afraid. If you're a young person and you have skills and people recognize that, negotiate, get more. You're worth more.
Canada's youth unemployment rate was north of 14% in June, notably higher than 10% in 2019. And new data shows young people and lower income households are struggling more than other demographics. Nearly half of respondents aged 18 to 34 said they felt anxious about their financial situation. Nearly 40% felt stuck, living paycheck to paycheck. A third of them felt like their life is on hold because of their finances.
So hold on. I just want to let's run through the numbers here. So we have 18 to 34-year-olds, typically the most positive and vibrant and bright age group that you can get because they're looking forward to their lives. I'm 37, so I've recently aged out of this group into the age of old men, or I think one of my friends is saying I'm an uncle now. I'm an unk, I think. So almost half are feeling anxious or stressed. Yeah, you're gonna feel that. Felt that before. Live paycheck to paycheck. Live no paycheck to no paycheck, and then you're really living it. Felt like life is on hold. Yes, 100%. Young people in this country don't even feel like it's just you. Like I, even older millennials, some younger Gen Xers, they've had to put their lives on hold just because it's not economically feasible to do anything else. But don't feel like you're the only one experiencing this. Everyone is experiencing it, but it's only going to be those who rise to the challenge that can come out of it. And that's the real big topic of conversation here. We are at a place where it is going to be a survival of the fittest or the most skilled, the most experienced. Get more skills, be independent, do stuff, build stuff. Don't sit there and wait for life to happen to you. You need to happen to life. And I'm going to tell you, you'll feel less anxious, you'll feel less stressed. Instead of maybe one paycheck every 2 weeks, maybe you get a big check for a big job you did, and it allows you to survive 3 months, half a year to find the next job. And then you no longer feel like your life is on hold. You are the pushing motion in your life. You are the wheel that turns, the hand that moves. When you get that feeling internally, your fear is transmuted to courage, and you start to do things you never thought you'd be able to do before. So if you're a young person, you're watching this and you're like, I have no direction, I need help, I can't do anything. Trust me, I was there. Maybe it was a little bit easier for me because you can actually get a job when I was, in my early 20s, but you can still find people to pay you to do stuff. And that's the bottom line. Find people to pay you to do stuff, get stuff, build stuff, products, sales. Like you can do it.
According to MNP's Consumer Debt Index.
People talking about wanting to get married, wanting to have kids, and being like, how? Like, how do we have space for a kid? How do we support them?
There's recession going on right now. It's hard to find a job, keep a job.
A prolonged stall at the start of a career has a snowball effect.
If that cloud does not lift, then we are looking at scarring for, millions of young people who will not be able to launch their lives.
Anne Gaviola, Global News, Toronto.
So she's right. Young people are going to have a very hard time just starting out their lives. Like I would say the most critical formative years that human beings have is just that moment where they realize, like, hey, people will pay me to do stuff. So maybe like 14, 15 years old, maybe younger if you're really entrepreneurial ambitious, up until that moment when you start considering you want to have kids. So the very first moment where you feel like you can get paid, up until the moment where you want to have kids, that in those years, hyper important that you figure out what you want to do. Because once, the family conversation comes in, wife, marriage, husband, kids, all that stuff comes in, you want to be established to be able to provide an environment where you can give your kid a cushion or a roadmap or a runway to get their job and their life started. Because you don't want to bring, this is my personal belief, you don't want to bring people in this world where it's going to be difficult for them. That you're sort of betraying them if you do that. But you also, we're all given we're all have the God-given right to procreate. God bless us. So, if you want to pursue kids and you're not quite there yet, maybe just hold off. Try and figure out a way to make it work. It might be difficult for you, but you want to prepare an environment where your kids are well looked after. And that means making sacrifices. I truly believe that our youth are going to be sacrificing those years of comfort and happiness that would have, the some millennials experience, a lot of Gen Xers, baby boomers experience it amazingly young, getting thrown jobs, thrown money, thrown loans, thrown houses, mortgages. Let's go, baby. Let's ride this real estate wave to the moon. And they did. Good for them. Like I always try to tell my parents, like, you guys had the easiest run up in value for your money than any other generation in the history of the world. Congrats. You hit the temporal lottery on the timeline for humanity, but you can't blame them. You can't get mad at them for saying, well, you got lucky because of timing. You just have to look at your situation and say, well, I was really unlucky. I need to do better. So if you're a young person, you see this video and you say, who the hell is this guy? Why is he telling me to go harder, be stronger? It's going to be required for you. You take it from someone who's literally had to live through that and now has his own business where he can pay people to do stuff. It sucks. It really sucks. Being a business, you want to talk about the worst job to have? Business owner, starting a business. But I can tell you the most rewarding job to have, being a business owner, having your own business, your own responsibility, your own accountability. I always say with responsibility comes accountability, and with accountability comes accounting. You will get paid. So if you're a young person and you want some direction, You can feel free to talk to our team. We'll try our best to find some time for you, put you in the right direction. If you want to get into AI, 100%, we can have that call. You do some work for us to see what kind of aptitudes you have. There's something for everyone in the world of AI. You're not so good at tech, or you're good with people. We'll have something for you to do. You're not so good with people. You're good with tech. We got stuff for you to do. But don't forget, your time right now is different from how it's been all these years, 40, 50 years. It's been an easy ride for everyone. That's no longer the case. You guys are spending a lot of time on social media, scrolling. You see these shorts, scrolling through TikTok, Instagram. It's all bullshit. All that stuff is bullshit. It's all a distraction. You got to really grip it and rip it, make sacrifices for your future. So this video does not do young people any justice. This article, what I just watched, does not actually show how difficult it is for young people. And only they themselves are going to tell you, yeah, it is hard, but it's hard to believe young people. You've been on the planet 15, 20 years. You don't have that much credibility. But if all of them are screaming for help at once, it's going to take some older people to say, hey, you know what? At least give them some direction, some help, or something just to try and help them, because we're not going to have any we're not going to have any customers in the future if none of these young people get jobs and money. So if you enjoyed what I touched on here, again, we're an AI agent, so we look at employment, youth employment especially, just because we work with a lot of entry level operations. You can feel free to like and subscribe if you have an interest in AI. Like and subscribe, or you just like listening to my voice and wail on about all the the things happening in our beautiful mess of a country here in Canada. You can feel free to like and subscribe, and I'm looking forward to the next one. Bye now.